Good morning, everybody. Can I hear another good morning? Okay, just one more. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know it's early, and so in Kuala Lumpur traffic, that means you had to wake up even earlier. So, just on behalf of Freedom Film Network, we see you and we appreciate the effort it took for you to get here on time. We really appreciate it. Hello, my name is Leisha. I don't know why, but I'm a little nervous right now. So if you can be a bit patient with me. But thank you. But I think it's also because it's quite an honor to be here in front of everybody, in front of artists, researchers, ambassadors, and just like fellow peers who we all really look up to and who really add to the ecosystem that is the arts in Malaysia. And yeah, we're really excited to have everybody here. I'm Leisha, once again, the lead campaigner with Freedom Film Network. I would like to say a little bit about Freedom Film Network, but anybody here don't know who Freedom Film Network is? Everybody knows, right? Thank you. Thank you. It says a lot. Freedom Film Network is a non-profit organization that tries to make social change through social films. We are also the organizer of Freedom Film Festival, which last year reached its 20th year. So can we have a little bit of a clap for Freedom Film? And also just like to note, we will also be having our Freedom Film Festival this year. So we hope to see everybody there as well. Um, with that, I would like to welcome everybody officially to the Freedom Film Network's second international film and society conference titled Artistic Freedom, Cultivating Artistic Freedom in a Volatile World. I'm so sorry. This is our second conference. Our first conference happened a couple of years ago in Connections. Yes. And that was looking at censorship, all the things Freedom Film Network is interested in. And I know some of you were there, so I'm very happy to have you guys back here again. I'm very honored to be part of this conference this year. And I would like to now introduce Brenda and Anna to give a little bit of a hello from Freedom Film Network.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
So nice to see everybody here. Uh yeah, and 9 o'clock in the morning. Wow. Good job, man.
Well done, everyone.
Yeah. So I think some of y'all will be wondering, how come Freedom Film Network, we're usually a festival, why we're suddenly going into having this kind of convenings, and artistic freedom some more, But actually it came out of our own lived experience as human rights film producers and also as festival organizers, So like how I think we started our experience, that led us to this today. It's actually that me and Brenda separately, and then after that we worked a lot together. We were just two persons who really like documentaries, and we're very also like passionate about like community, and then we like this kind of documentaries, and we love showing it to people. So that's how it started, this passion that made us do what we like lah. So we just went and did it, forget about corporate career and everything. But what happened was along the way, it was so difficult. It was so difficult. It was not an easy thing. It was totally unsupported financially, no space, no friend, no recognition, very little of that at the beginning. And of course, the risk, in Malaysia, big risk just to show human rights films. So, and what we did was, I think generally we absorbed the risk. What we did was, okay, there's all these things, but we still want to show films. Okay, let's see how we can do it. Some risk needs to be absorbed. Call a lawyer, have strategies. Yeah. Then I think, yeah.
So to date, we've produced more than 100 social justice films. We've also screened, I don't know, we were trying to count this now, we can't count, more than 1,000 films, international, regional, local stories. But it's like what Anna is saying, it's never been easy. But it's not something that we think on the top of our head. No, it's so difficult, what are we going to do? But it's like the story matters. This story is important for us to tell. The support for this filmmaker we must. And then we'll thought like, okay, we have to do this. And we're doing it together. So like, for example, in 2022, we worked with a filmmaker and she's here. It's a story about drag artists. Their performances was raided. That story needs to be told, but it's not in any mainstream media. And in 2021, we told a story of death in custody. That story needs to be told, and we were investigated for that. It's called Chili Powder and Thinner. And then
much earlier, there was the film of No Fire Zone. It was about a civil war in Sri Lanka, and the documentary was to kind of lobby that international people go in to investigate. That got us into trouble, and one of our colleagues, Lina Henry, was charged for that. Yeah. So yeah.
So why screening a film is a crime? And these are lived realities, right? And now the legal consequences is real. And maybe most of you may know, Mentega Terbang filmmaker is charged in court, and it's a criminal charge. Yeah, so we've always tried to navigate. When we do films, we screen films, we tell stories, we think about the community first. We always try to navigate. We have plan A, B, C, D, E, right up to Z, I don't know. And we usually try to find ways that are innovative or ways that, it's we can't tell you the ways because then we can't.
Yeah, we can't give away our secrets, our trade secrets.
We have nicknames like "Where's the UFO?" or like "Is it in the pocket?" Things like that. And we have group chats, and all these things are all said in a way that so that we can continue. We don't stop right there.
Yeah, but the thing is, after doing this, the way we do it, the underground way, then we realize cannot. We need to, we fight for, we champion all kinds of rights through our films, but never for ourselves, Freedom of expression was the last thing that we like, okay, we want to really study it and lobby for it, It was migrants' rights, labor rights, all kinds of things you can think of, but not, somehow we didn't go this way. We just absorbed and, did what we could in the environment. But I thought, then after that we thought, no, after Lina Henry, after Chili Powder, after these few cases, we thought, no, it's time. So after 20 years, it took us 20 years to kind of like, okay, it's time we study the law, it's time we fight back, fight back as in just, can we change the law? Who should we be talking to? And how do we like give language to what we do? And it's not bad. What we're doing is not bad for society. That's what we believe, So how can it be such a crime in Malaysia? So that was when I think maybe around 2020, just like after COVID, and thank God there was funding, we started, okay, now this time we did research. We researched on the Film Censorship Act. And then we came up with even a list of recommendations, that, we could lobby the government to do. And then we had our first conference. We had our first conference because that was not because we love conference, because, I'm not the kind of,
we love conference.
No, okay, I'm the student behind, okay. Yeah, but it was a very creative way we thought to engage with the stakeholders and also with the government. We called LPF, we called, everybody to kind of hear the academics speak. Yeah, so that was the first one. But then since then, what happened was whatever we kind of learned, like about the law and then giving language to what we do, we started to share this with filmmakers at risk. Like, hey, okay, hey, you are facing this. Actually, you don't have to say you are guilty. There are laws. We can challenge it. We give, there's a support group and all these kind of things. So we started to like, okay, kind of like reach out to filmmakers at risk. Then, okay, we are all friends because we are all in the same boat. And then after that, filmmakers, very small group, very, very small community, and not everyone is into the kind of things that we do. So we said, okay, what happened? There's so many other artists at risk, journalists at risk. So we started to share our knowledge, and every time we spot somebody who we feel like, okay, this is person in the same boat, we would rally around that person. You rally around that person and then just share notes. It's not like nothing formal. It's just like, hey, we did this, you can do this, or we have a friend who can support you do like this. So that's what we did. We just kind of like shared what we know with other groups that were doing similar things to us, who were also at risk, who was facing criminalization.
I think for us, what is key is just to show up, just be there, to listen, to kind of like discuss, to just show up. I think that's really key for those at risk, filmmakers and artists. Yeah.
Then we learned actually the most powerful thing is just to be in a room with the person and then share what you face. And a lot of artists don't do that, that we don't, like, just like how it took 20 years to actually tell people, okay, verbalize, okay, this is really what we, so it's more like, I think the first step of anything is just being honest with each other and about the problems that we face. We face censorship, then we navigate it, but we do it all ourselves alone. But it's actually when we tell someone, there's so much power in it. And that's what we found out because we started doing small study groups, in our friend's house. Thank you,
Thank
the
you,
friend.
Joe.
Yeah. And then the act of sharing, we don't talk about solutions, just the act of sharing was so powerful. Then we realized that also that this sharing has, but we didn't just share lah. We had we called in other people who could bring in extra knowledge, and then we try to analyze, understand actually what is happening to us and around us, and why now. Yeah, and we found it to be really powerful and really useful, and that's how the idea of this second conference came up. It was film and society, but now it's about artistic freedom because we feel that's where the need is, where we want people, artists at risk, people that are facing out stakeholders to come together. That's why this room is so varied, no? It's really got all kinds of people.
Yeah.
All the important people are in this room. Yeah.
So we hope that this conference, right, that you really get to know one another. Spend the time. We have the whole day here together. Woohoo! We have food. We have good company and really important things to talk about. So what is this conference about? Why are you here? Why are you here? We want to create a space, an opportunity for artists and creatives to talk about issues they face, to exchange experience, similar to what we're saying about our study group, right? Come here, listen, be vulnerable, talk to one another. And I think what's key is to learn from one another. We have very rich knowledge among all of us. If you put all our knowledge together, wow, we can take over some things. So we are all navigating similar pressures, similar situations. We're all in it together. So often we're always doing it in isolation. So now we are together. So let's change being alone to coming together. And this gathering, very special, is bringing creatives and artists from Port Dickson, from Penang, yeah, and Sabah, and Sarawak, Kelantan. I'm not sure if she's here already. Kelantan, yeah, Kelantan here. Of course, Klang Valley and the region, Southeast Asia, and international as well. And we all gathered here together to build connection, to build a community, a network where we can support one another so that we can be in solidarity, the spirit of solidarity.
Okay, first, we have to get the filmmakers together, but then we also need the other stakeholders. We found that's very important. The researchers, it's very important. Without data, very hard to lobby, very hard to articulate. So we need the researchers to do your work. Okay, and then we also need we need the policymakers. We need lawyers. Lawyers are so important. I mean, and we haven't done enough to explain to them what we are facing, and now there are quite a few lawyers who are interested. Shout out to Alim. Yeah, they are in the room today. So it's basically getting not just, okay, first the artists have to talk, but we also need the other stakeholders, different levels, for us to really make change, to turn our field not into a, what they call it, a negotiable field. Like in the COVID time, what did they call it? A not important sector. Non-essential, yes, to the most essential. Yeah. So we need the different stakeholders in this room, and they're here. So please take the opportunity to kind of meet everybody. No, just don't hang out with artists or just hang out with your gang, Find these other people. Yeah. And all these people have so much of knowledge. They contribute to what we know, and it really helps us with strategy as well.
So yes, so the other thing that we think about is how do we refine our strategies? So we always talk about issues, right? We're always telling, well, this is the problem, this is the problem. But today also we want to look at strategies. So how do we do that? And learning from one another, sharing here. We want to hear what you think, and we want to hear what the panelists think. So refining strategies, and that's how we can move forward together. Yeah. So
Yeah. So okay, so that's why there's 3 rooms, because we know there's different types of people here. Some people like to listen to this kind, which is the more formal, give information, look at research. Then there's the wayang room, which is more like, okay, I just want to listen to other artists. And there's a workshop room where there's people who, okay, just teach me how to do a good contract, or something like that. So we try and like cater to all kinds. So you are free the whole day to go wherever you like. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And okay. So now and of course, without, this beautiful place, all this will not happen without supporters. So that's where, thank you so much to the Netherlands Embassy for consistently supporting the festival and human rights and Freedom Film Fest in Malaysia. Thank you so much. Yes. A lot of y'all got concessions. Thank you again to most of the support that we got from the Netherlands went to the paying of this place and for the food and stuff like that, the venue. Then of course, British Council, Florence, and thank you for being our supporter for so long. Yes, and British Council especially has sponsored the presence of Sara Whyatt, who will be giving the keynote later. Yeah, and of course, I don't know whether there's, but apart from these 2 for the event, there's the funders of the Freedom of Expression Cluster who had contributed. So if you're in the room, thank you. Yeah, and of course, the partners who really are the experts on artistic freedom, Koalisi Seni from Indonesia. Thank you for being here. Ninin, Amel, and Hafez. Yeah, Arts Equator, Kathy, and the big gang here of researchers who are here. Freemuse, of course. Yeah, and the most importantly one, I guess, is everyone who bought a ticket or donated, because without that, we cannot have this place. So thank you so much. Every single donation is so important to us.
Yeah, I think the local support that we got, and that's something we want to move towards, to get local support. Generally, we had an aim, and we reached our target, which is 10% of the cost of organizing today. So thank you for that 10%, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, we made it 10%. I don't know what, but that was our KPI lah.
The next one will be 30.
Yeah. And of course, the panelists who showed interest and submitted their films, the richness of the topics that you see here is because of them. And yeah, good job for doing all these interesting things. Yeah. And then, of course, Sarah, who came all the way from the UK, the long flight. Okay, yes, we're glad you're here. And then all the moderators and friends who just stepped up, volunteered to, can I do this? Can I do this? Maybe I can help you do this. Yes, So we've always had that kind of support, and that really matters to us.
Just give them a smile. Everyone with the yellow tag, they are volunteers. Seeing everyone just say, yeah, sure. We just said, would you come and support us? Yes. Anything? Ushering? Yes. So the crew and everybody, yeah.
And last but not least, I think is the participants, all of y'all who came at 9. What commitment, And it's kind of like also kind of deciding, making a choice to walk this journey with us, So we're really, really honored.
Thank you, everyone.
Hello. I'm back and I'm feeling much better. So yes, thank you everybody. I just wanted to share a little anecdote. So I've been with Freedom Film Network now about 6 months. And I would just like to say that having seen how Anna and Brenda pour so much care and love into this ecosystem, into their fellow practitioners, into just about anyone who approaches them has been really eye-opening for me. and I think I've learned a lot. Yeah, it's kind of like it's an honor to be here with you guys. It's also really a huge honor to be here with Edna and Brenda, because I think I think for them it's very much like go go go. We have to get it done. We have to get it done. But I just wanted to note to you guys that we see how much work you guys put into it, and we really appreciate everything you guys have done, and of course you will continue to do. Um, I also really quickly want to just introduce you guys to some of the core team members at Freedom Film Network. They don't know I'm going to do this, so they're going to be a bit awkward. But yes, I'm Leisha. I'm the lead campaigner. Shak, can you say hi? Next to Shak is Eliana. So one of the things that we do at Freedom Film Network is that we also support um, aktivis orang asli activist called apa kata wanita orang asli, and Eliana's part of that. We also have Rose over here, who is part of the apa kata wanita orang asli. I'm just going to do really quickly who's in the room. We have Irene, who's helping us document. We have Zinc. We have Deb, who is also helping us with social media. Deb is also Freedom Film Network's forever person. She will never be able to leave lah. So wave Deb. News to her. And then we have Christine, who is has so kindly decided to be the MC and lead for this room. Outside, Joyce. Oh yes, and Joyce. Sorry, Joyce, you're right there. Joyce, she will be documenting for Academy. We also have outside. Farah just left the room, but we have Farah, Aruna, and Danya, who were at the registration counter. If you guys need anything at any point, please come to FFN team. We all have the yellow tags. Any questions, anything at all, you can come to us. And so with that, none of this can happen without the team, without all of you, and without our supporters. So I'd like to invite to the stage Mr. Jacques Werner. Did I say that correctly? Oh, excellent. Thank you. Mr. Jacques Werner has been the ambassador for the Dutch ambassador for Kuala Lumpur since 2022. Since 2022? Yes. So please. Yes.
Well, a warm welcome to all the distinguished guests that have gathered here today, to the artists and filmmakers and their endless creativity, to the stakeholders and organizations that have put in significant effort to organize this conference, and to all those inspired by film. It's my great pleasure to stand here with you today, not merely to represent the Royal Dutch Embassy as a sponsor and longstanding partner of the Freedom Film Network, but also because the important message that this conference conveys, it cannot be understated. Because today we are gathered here at the second International Conference on Film and Society to support and strengthen the importance of freedom of expression in a constantly changing and increasingly volatile world, and a world where misinformation, disinformation seem to take center stage. Ladies and gentlemen, since its invention, film has been a medium through which experiences of communities and groups previously unheard of have been brought to the forefront. And through innovative and creative narratives, artists are able to explore and to question long accepted social norms, champion human rights, and offer diverse perspectives. These are all fundamental facets of a healthy and resilient democracy. Artistic freedom is an important foundation in upholding and protecting democratic values. It's not just a simple privilege to enjoy, but a necessity and a fully recognized human right under the freedom of expression. The Kingdom of the Netherlands considers freedom of expression as one of its human rights priorities and has long been its advocate in both online and offline spheres. To safeguard artistic freedom in film, the Netherlands has adopted a system of film rating by providing only guidelines to check whether material might be suitable for minors rather than directly interfering with the material itself. This method creates space for the artist to enrich the inclusivity of our cultural landscape, to spur innovation, and bring forth societal progress and democratic debate. Thus, critical Dutch documentaries on societal issues, such as our housing crisis, for instance, have sparked open discussion on, for instance, the demographical challenges young adults face. And Malaysia too has developed a culturally rich movie scene, accumulating in impressive global success with movies such as Tiger Stripes by winning a Critics' Prize at the Cannes Film Festival. Such successes underscore the importance of nourishing an environment in which filmmakers can freely explore cultural norms and taboos to inspire democratic debate and to promote societal progress. Ladies and gentlemen, initiatives emphasizing freedom of expression are therefore of great importance and all the more needed. Because, according to the Global Expression Report, more than 5.6 billion people have experienced a decline in their freedom of expression over the last 10 years. And for every person who has experienced improvement in their freedom of expression, 19 people experienced deterioration. These are disturbing statistics. Moreover, challenges of the digital age, such as the rise of artificial intelligence and shifting political context, threaten to put limitations on the creativity of artists in cultural industries. Some artists find themselves even in danger of prosecution, oppression, or worse. Ladies and gentlemen, conferences like today are therefore crucial in safeguarding and defending the rights of artists to creatively express themselves and translate dreams, worries, and criticisms into the medium of film. By bringing together actors from different layers of society, we create an opportunity to foster solidarity and to build a knowledge base that transcends sectors amidst increasing pressure. I therefore hope that this conference will cultivate a sense of community and encourage space for open dialogue to ensure the necessary progression of artistic freedom within creative spaces against the countercurrents that these volatile times present us with. Thank you very much. But I'd like to say thank you, Brenda and Anna, for allowing us to be your partners in crime in all of this for already a long time. Keep up the good work and never give up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rose. Yeah, so as you can see, huge height difference. But thank you so much, Ambassador. It really is such an honor to always to be able to do the work knowing that we have the backing and support of you guys and everybody here. So now we will go on. So I'm not going to do anything too long because we want to get to our day, right? But I think what we're all really excited for here right now is to get to know our keynote speaker, Sara Whyatt, who has come all the way from London, England, during a really rough time in the world right now. And I think we're very happy to have Sara here. Sara was very kind to be with us on calls. I'm sure in the early morning hours in England with us speaking over Zoom for how many hours, just talking, sharing her knowledge, sharing her thoughts and ideas, like somebody who's so generous with everything that she has inside her head. And I'm very grateful to have just been part of those conversations. Something that not a lot of people know and what we wanted to share is that Sara actually shared Safer Spaces for Arts, the film censorship website that Freedom Film Network has. She shared it as part of one of her presentations in another conference. And she didn't even know who Freedom Film Network was. But one of our friends recognized it and told us about it. And then now, years later, Sara is here in Kuala Lumpur with us. How cool is that? So yeah, with that, Sara, would you like to come up and give us your keynote speech? which is titled Courage is Contagious: Artistic Freedom in a Time of War and Democratic Decline.
I've insisted on a rostrum because I'm terrified that I will drop my papers in the middle of all of this. So making it look too formal. And yes, indeed, I first came across the Freedom Film Network when I saw its excellent piece on the film that censorship and the ways that just one post could escalate into violence, into legal cases. I was inspired by the way that Freedom Film Network also included the wide spectrum of all who should be involved in artistic freedom, from lawyers to civil society organizations, even therapists, because in this case it included a young girl, and also artists themselves. So that is really what inspired me to show the Freedom Film Network to others as a fantastic example. And also, I'm already inspired just in the first 5-10 minutes of this meeting by the enthusiasm and inspiration from Brenda and Anna, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of this meeting. I'm going to come away, I think, with some great ideas that I hope to be able to share with others. It's a special delight for me to be back in Asia and in Malaysia. I first stepped into the world of human rights in the early 1980s. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was 1982. At that time, I was working with a Dutch documentary company, and it was investigating the malpractices of multinational corporations in the Philippines. Companies such as Unilever and civic, who were working hand in hand with the authorities, mis-selling drugs, exploiting communities, and doing so largely unchecked. And this is when I first became aware that ordinary people could become victims of corrupt governments. Being British, I tended to see, and young, I tended to see human rights activists as being big, aggressive, mainly guys who shouted a lot. I didn't really see human rights as being something that ordinary people did. So it was the case of Bobby de la Paz, a community doctor working in the Philippines among the poorest, who spoke out about poverty and the inequity that he witnessed. And for this, he was labeled subversive. And for this, he was shot dead in his clinic in April 1982. He was my inspiration. Sorry, I keep moving my head around. Sorry about that. Take it down a little bit. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. And it was his death that led me to understand that human rights work, what actually means, and the dangers that it can bring. And it's also the inspiration behind the title, Courage is Contagious. And this is actually a statement from one of the Freemuse researchers, who is an Iranian women's rights activist. And even in this day, this was her quote. Now, the world then, in 1984, when I joined Amnesty International at its International Secretariat and into its Asia department, I still remember walking in and being confronted by photographs, row upon row of portraits of the victims of the Kampuchean killing fields. We all know those photographs. These were one of the first cases that I worked with. Down the corridor, colleagues in the Americas department were documenting mass detentions, people held in football stadiums, people thrown from planes. Close to home in East Timor, similar horrors were unfolding, and elsewhere. At the same time, even in the United Kingdom, there was a public tolerance of torture. These were the years of bombs in streets, mostly in Ireland, but also on the UK mainland. And many ordinary people believed that extreme measures were perhaps justified to tackle this. But today, 40 years on, torture is not openly defended in the same way. Violence against women, once barely acknowledged in the 80s, is now firmly on the global agenda. The death penalty, once widespread, had been reduced across much of the world. International standards have been developed and built, new laws have been written, and norms have been shifted. And how did this happen? This happened because of resistance. Not just the resistance of the well-known names, not only the Nelson Mandelas, not the Václav Havels and the other heroes that you will have amongst you, but because of the countless people who carried out small and persistent acts, just standing at a street, holding up a sign, writing a piece which maybe no one else would read, documenting, researching, gathering evidence when it felt small and even futile. But it's not futile. The big heroes of the rights movements relied on and could not act without the thousands of sometimes quiet, sometimes noisy, determined acts of resistance. In a few days, Freemuse will launch its latest report. I should say to those who don't know Freemuse, it was established in 1998, first of all, to advocate globally for musicians under censorship. But over the years, it has developed its mandate to include all artists. And it has a small team of researchers, many of them based around the world. In fact, only 2 of us in the UK, one in Norway, the rest all around the world, who gather information on attacks on artists, big and small, governments and non-governments, and also more recently, trying to get a handle of the widespread self-censorship that we see across the world. We cover restrictions on artistic freedom, violation, all kinds of violations, all kinds of pressures, and the many, many ways in which creative voices are silenced and threatened around the world. We didn't have space to cover every country, because every country, democratic or not, has its challenges. But we have, in this year, have featured chapters on, of course, Iran, on Myanmar, also on the United Kingdom, on the USA, on Turkey. We have regional focuses on Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America, and cover all sorts of abuses. You know, even in Latin America, we have an interesting insights on the attacks by criminal gangs on artists and how they affect the artist community, of which I can talk more later. But the theme that runs through it is resilience and resistance, and this is especially inspiring. And I like the term that I heard earlier, is that many of these artists are adopting the risk. This really interesting way to look at it. It features how artists and those who support them continue to create, to challenge, to speak, even in the most difficult of circumstances, under threat, sometimes under bombardment in war, sometimes in conditions that from the outside seem, certainly to me, unimaginable. Now, I come from a family of artists, so I'm not one myself, but I have always understood this. We need artists, we need musicians, we need theatre, we need museum directors, we need festival organizers, we need filmmakers. We need their particular ways of seeing and bearing witness, because resistance is not only legal or political, it is also cultural, it is emotional, and it is deeply human. It is the act of continuing to create whatever the pressures. Now, the situation globally will make many of us feel a deep sense of despair, particularly when we look at the Middle East, but also here in Southeast Asia, also what we're seeing in Europe and the United States, in every region, where we see rights being questioned and eroded from all sides. But we've been here before. Looking back over my time in human rights, more than 40 years, I've seen advances and reversals. I've seen progress and crisis. Right now, we're in a difficult moment, but I feel confident that this is not permanent. Tyrannies have been defeated before. Standards have been defended and expanded, built by persistence, by courage, and small acts repeated time after time. Resistance does not look dramatic. It can sometimes be as simple as leaning out of a window and banging a pot at night. Continuing to create under censorship, under threat, even under bombardment, as we've seen in Gaza and Iran today, and countless dire situations in previous decades where creation itself became an act of defiance. There are those who take cases to court, often pursuing them for years and years, and refusing to let injustice go uncontested, documenting big and small injustices, in print, in painting, in song, and of course in film, to reveal a larger truth, and often in ways that are best understood by people who may not be able to access, or they might mistrust lawyers, they will mistrust academics, they certainly mistrust government, but they certainly understand and are understood by the creators. These small acts accumulate, they create evidence, and evidence can become action, and eventually, sometimes slowly, create change. So it is these small acts of courage that inspire others that is contagious. It's such an honor to be with you all today. The work you are doing is put toward that path towards change. So very much looking forward to the rest of the day and actually indeed working with you in future. Thank you very much.